Hi everyone, I'm Keertana. I'm a sports psychologist, and over the last few years, I've worked with athletes across different sports, different ages, and different levels. Every week, I have conversations with athletes, parents, coaches, so sports science teams, sports science staff. And while every athlete is different, I've realized something. The questions people ask are surprisingly similar. So I thought I'd start a new series where I'd answer the questions I genuinely get asked all the time. None of these are about a particular person or a particular family. They are simply the themes that keep coming up in my practice. So let's get into it. Question number one. My child is only 10. Is it too early to see a sports psychologist? Sometimes, the question is the other way around too. My child is like 5 or 10 and they have to go to a sports psychologist. See, this is a very, very common question I get asked. And my answer is yes and no, right? So the sessions look very different. When a child is just 10 or 8 or 5, there are so many developmental milestones they need to actually cross, right? The sessions look very different. Is it too early to see a sports psychologist? Not really. But what would we be working on is definitely not what we would be working on them with. Like, it's different in comparison to what we would work on with, let's say, a 15-year-old, right? I'm not going to be sitting there, like, let's say, working with a 10-year-old on, say, complex psychological theories, helping them understand emotions, etc., etc. What I'm going to be doing is to probably develop a vocabulary around emotions, build confidence, help develop routines, learn to deal with their mistakes. And very often, definitely at this age group, I'm also working with the parents so that parents can help them, work through these things. They can help create this environment where they can actually grow and they can actually thrive, right? So, at that age, children don't perform in isolation, they actually perform within an environment. How many sessions will my child need? Now, that's the second question, right? Honestly, I wish there was a number, right? But there isn't. It actually depends on what we're working towards, and it depends on where the athlete also is, where the child also is. It is different if it's about understanding nerves, competition nerves, right? And that's going to be different from rebuilding confidence after an injury or navigating burnout. The goal for me isn't to keep an athlete in therapy forever, for sure, right? It is to give them skills that they can eventually use without me. So it actually depends on the athlete as such and where they actually stand, right? Question number three. When will I start seeing results? Mostly parents ask me this question. Uh, and again, I would first start off with defining results the way they would like to see it, right? I think some parents expect athletes to perform, at their best, 100% best, the moment they start seeing a sports psychologist. But that is obviously not the way it works, right? There might be certain behavioral changes, there might be certain small emotional changes that athletes themselves might end up being able to see during the competition, right? So, again, parents invest time, money, energy, and of course, naturally, they want to know when things will change. Sometimes you'll notice small shifts after the first session. Uh, Maybe, say, your child talks a little more, maybe sleeps better before a competition. And for some of them, it might just be feeling an emotion, right? Maybe some of them are not able to feel emotions. Maybe they numb their emotions. And maybe for the first time, they're able to articulate it. Maybe they're even crying, and that itself might be growth, right? Uh, it all has different perspectives. But if you're expecting years of habits, beliefs, behaviors to disappear within 1 hour, I'd be doing a disservice if I did say yes in terms of seeing results within one session altogether, right? Question number 4. Can you talk to my child during competition? Well, sometimes. But here's something I always tell families, right? My goal isn't to become someone your child needs after every competition. Okay? Not just after, but needs just during every competition, right? My goal is to help them develop the tools to manage those moments themselves. And that is independent and that is confidence. So, a disclaimer is that I don't work on clinical challenges or clinical issues. Since I don't work in that, there is no need also to actually speak to the child during the competition, right? So it depends on that. So, and the most important thing here is for me to make sure that they are independent. They learn to manage these tools, these emotions at that point over there themselves, and then we talk about it, right? Question number 5. Do parents sit in sessions? Well, sometimes yes, sometimes no, right? Sometimes yes, because sometimes I actually end up working with the parent themselves. Mostly no, I would say, because a child, I believe, speaks a lot more openly when the parent is not there. At least I've seen that in my experience. So it depends on the child's age, it depends on the purpose of the session, and sometimes, well, a lot of times, parents need their own session because supporting an athlete is definitely hard as well, right? So, do parents sit during a session? Not necessarily. Do I have sessions with parents? Of course, I do. I also work with parents very often. Yes. Question number 6. My child seems confident in practice but falls apart in competition. Why? Now, you might be surprised to know that this is a lot more common than you think. Well, practice and competition are completely different environments, at least in terms of pressure, expectations, and consequences, right? The issue isn't the ability. So again, confidence comes with ability, right? It is often what happens inside the child's mind when stakes feel a little higher. So it's not confidence here which is a problem. It is more of, okay, can I handle the situation in this particular context? In my competition, can I handle the situation, right? And they don't want to risk it. When there's some new technique they've used, they definitely don't want to risk it. They go back to what they're comfortable with, even if it's not something that they're good at, right? So that is something which we need to understand. And that's pretty much that. Question number 7. Do you only work with athletes who are struggling? Not at all. Some athletes come because they're struggling. Others come because they're performing well and they want to stay there. We don't only train our bodies when they're injured, right? Mental skills work the same way, right? Um, Question 8. Can sports psychology guarantee better performance? Well, yes and no. I'd be worried. I mean, of course, I'd be worried if anyone promised a yes. What sports psychology can do is help athletes prepare better, regulate emotions, recover from setbacks, communicate much more effectively, and perform closer to what they've trained for. Results are influenced by many things, and performance is one of them, right? So, and it also depends on how much they actually implement it as well. Question 9. My child doesn't want to come. Should I force them? Well, usually I ask one question first. Do they know why they're coming? Because sometimes children think they're being brought because something is wrong with them, right? And that changes everything. Obviously, they don't want to go to a place where they think they're actually completely wrong and that's why they're going. They want to know that they're doing better and they can be better, right? They can do a lot better as well, right? And I think the conversation before the first session often matters just as much as the session itself. And I think it's important that we, understand that we are communicating it the right way to the child. We're communicating it the right way to the athlete, and we explain why, why are we going there, what is going to happen there, and usually that happens over a first call. Question number 10. What's the biggest misconception about sports psychology? Well, I think to me it could be there are many that it's only for athletes with problems, that it's only counseling. Well, it's not, and that we are going to give them motivation. That also doesn't work that way, right? Uh, Sports psychology is mental training. It can be part of it, right? Just like strength training develops the body, psychological skills develop the mind, right? Um, well, if you made it this far, thank you. I hope this answered a few questions that you may have had yourself. And if you're a parent, coach, or an athlete, I'd love to know what's one question you always wanted to ask a sports psychologist? Leave it in the comments, and it might